Lee OBS is a Taiwanese-born American film director, screenwriter and producer. Lee's earlier films, such as The Wedding Banquet, Pushing Hands, and Eat Drink Man Woman explored the relationships and conflicts between tradition and modernity, Eastern and Western. Lee also deals with repressed, hidden emotions in many of his films, including Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Hulk, and Brokeback Mountain. Lee's insight into the human heart has allowed his films to transcend cultural and linguistic barriers to speak to audiences all over the world. Lee has won the Academy Award for Best Director twice, first for Brokeback Mountain and most recently for Life of Pi. He also won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He is the first person of Asian descent to win an Oscar, Golden Globe and BAFTA for Best Director, and the only director to win 2 Best Film Awards at the Berlin International Film Festival. Early life, childhood and education. Lee was born in the town of Chaotia in Pingtung, a southern agricultural county in Taiwan. He grew up in a household that put heavy emphasis on education and the Chinese classics. Both of Lee's parents moved to Taiwan from China following the Chinese nationalists' defeat in the Chinese Civil War in 1949. Lee's father imbued his children with studying Chinese culture and art, especially calligraphy. Lee studied in the provincial Tainan First Senior High School where his father was the principal. He was expected to pass the annual Joint College-University Entrance Examination, the only route to a university education in Taiwan. But after failing the exam twice, to the disappointment of his father, he entered a 3-year college, the National Arts School, and graduated in 1975. His father had wanted him to become a professor, but he had become interested in drama and the arts at college. This early frustration set his career on the path of performance art. Seeing Ingmar Bergman's film The Virgin Spring was a formative experience for him. After finishing Republic of China Armed Forces' mandatory military service, Lee went to the U.S. in 1979 to study at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where he completed his bachelor's degree in theater in 1980. Originally, Lee was interested in acting, but his challenges with speaking English made it difficult and he quickly turned to directing. At UIUC, Lee met his future wife Jane Lin, also a Taiwanese student, who pursued her Ph.D. degree. Thereupon, he enrolled at the Tisch School of the Arts of New York University, where he received his MFA in film production. He was a classmate of Spike Lee and worked on the crew of his thesis film, Joe's Bed-Stuy Barbershop, We Cut Heads. During graduate school, Lee finished a 16mm short film, Shades of the Lake, which won the Best Drama Award in Short Film in Taiwan. His own thesis work, a 43-minute drama, Fine Line, won NYU's Wasserman Award for Outstanding Direction and was later selected for the Public Broadcasting Service. Life after graduation, Lee's NYU thesis drew attention from the William Morris Agency, the famous talent and literary agency that later represented Lee. At first, though, WMA found Lee few opportunities, and Lee remained unemployed for 6 years. During this time, he was a full-time house husband, while his wife Jane Lin, a molecular biologist, was the sole breadwinner for the family of 4. This arrangement put enormous pressure on the couple, but with Lin's support and understanding, Lee did not abandon his career in film but continued to generate new ideas from movies and performances. He also wrote several screenplays during this time. In 1990, Lee submitted 2 screenplays, Pushing Hands and The Wedding Banquet, to a competition sponsored by Taiwan's Government Information Office, and they came in first and second, respectively. The winning screenplays brought Lee to the attention of Lee Kongshu, a recently promoted senior manager in a major studio who had a strong interest in Lee's unique style and freshness. Shu, a first-time producer, invited Lee to direct Pushing Hands, a full-length feature that debuted in 1991. Career, debut from Taiwan, The Father Knows Best trilogy. Pushing Hands was a success in Taiwan both among critics and at the box office. It received 8 nominations in the Golden Horse Film Festival, Taiwan's premier film festival. Inspired by the success, Lee Kong-shu collaborated with Lee in their second film, The Wedding Banquet, which won the Golden Bear at the 43rd Berlin International Film Festival and was nominated as the Best Foreign Language Film in both the Golden Globe and the Academy Awards. In all, this film collected 11 Taiwanese and international awards and made Lee a rising star. These first two movies were based on stories of Chinese Americans, and both were filmed in the U.S. In 1995, Shu invited Lee to return to Taiwan to make Eat Drink Man Woman, a film that depicts traditional values, modern relationships, and family conflicts in Taipei. The film was a box office hit and was critically acclaimed. For a second consecutive year, Lee's film received the Best Foreign Language Film nomination in both the Golden Globe and Academy Awards, as well as in the British Academy Award. Eat Drink Man Woman won 5 awards in Taiwan and internationally, including the Best Director from Independent Spirit. The 3 films show the Confucian family at risk and star the Taiwanese actor Si Hung Lung to form what has been called Lee's Father Knows Best trilogy. Arrival in Hollywood, Sense and Sensibility. Lee's 3 acclaimed first dramas opened the door to Hollywood for him. In 1995, Lee directed Columbia TRI-Star's British classic Sense and Sensibility. The switch from Taiwanese to British films did not prevent Lee's work from garnering awards. Sense and Sensibility made Lee a second-time winner of the Golden Bear at the Berlin Film Festival. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, and won Best Adapted Screenplay for screenwriter Emma Thompson, who also starred in the movie alongside Hugh Grant and Kate Winslet. Sense and Sensibility also won the Golden Globe Award for Best Motion Picture, Drama. After this, Lee directed 2 more Hollywood movies, The Ice Storm, a drama set in 1970s suburban America, and Ride with the Devil, an American Civil War drama. Although the critics still highly praised these latter 2 films, their box office was not impressive, and for a time this interrupted Lee's unbroken popularity from both general audiences and art house aficionados since his first full-length movie. However, in the late 1990s and 2000s, The Ice Storm has had high VHS and DVD sales and rentals and repeated screenings on cable television, which has increased the film's popularity among audiences. 1999 onward, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. In 1999, Lee Kong-shu, Lee's old partner and supporter, invited him to make a movie based on the traditional Chinese Euro genre. Excited about the opportunity to fulfill his childhood dream, Lee assembled a team from Taiwan, Hong Kong, Malaysia and mainland China for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The film was a surprising success worldwide. With Chinese dialogue and English subtitles, the film became the highest-grossing foreign film in many countries, including the United States and the United Kingdom, and was nominated in 10 categories at the Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Foreign Language Film, and Best Director. It ended up winning Best Foreign Language Film and 3 technical awards. The success of Crouching Tiger demonstrated that Lee's artistry had a general appeal. It also inspired such established directors as Zhang Yimou and Chen Cage to explore wuxia films for Western audiences. Hulk. In 2003, Lee returned to Hollywood to direct Hulk, his second big-budget movie after the disappointment of Ride with the Devil's restricted release. The film received mixed reviews and became a moderate success, grossing over $245 million at the box office. After the setback, Lee considered retiring early, but his father encouraged him to continue making movies. Brokeback Mountain. Lee decided to take on a small-budget, low-profile independent film based on Annie Proulx's Pulitzer Prize finalist short story, Brokeback Mountain. In a 2005 article by Robert K. Elder, Lee was quoted as saying, "What do I know about gay ranch hands in Wyoming?" In spite of the director's removal from the subject at hand, Brokeback Mountain showcased Lee's skills in probing the depths of the human heart. The 2005 movie about the forbidden love between 2 Wyoming sheepherders immediately caught public attention and became a cultural phenomenon, initiating intense debates and becoming a box office hit. The film was critically acclaimed at major international film festivals and won Lee numerous Best Director and Best Picture awards worldwide. Brokeback Mountain was the most acclaimed film of 2005, winning 71 awards and an additional 52 nominations. It won the Golden Lion Award at the Venice International Film Festival and was named 2005's Best Film by the Los Angeles, New York, Boston, and London film critics. It also won Best Picture at the 2005 Broadcast Film Critics Association, Directors Guild of America, Writers Guild of America, Producers Guild of America and the Independent Spirit Awards, as well as the Golden Globe Award for Best Motion Picture Eurodrama, with Lee winning the Golden Globe Award for Best Director. Brokeback also won Best Film and Best Director at the 2006 British Academy Awards. Brokeback Mountain was nominated for a leading 8 Oscars and was the front-runner for Best Picture heading into the March 5 ceremony, but lost out to Crash, a story about race relations in Los Angeles, in a controversial upset. He became the first person of Asian heritage and the first non-white person to ever win the Best Director at the Academy Awards. In 2006, following his Best Director Oscar, Ang Lee was bestowed the Order of Brilliant Star with Grand Cordon, the second highest civilian honor, by the Taiwanese government. Lust, Caution. After Brokeback Mountain, Lee returned to a Chinese topic. His next film was Lust, Caution, which was adapted from a short novel by the Chinese author Eileen Chang. The story was written in 1950, and was loosely based on an actual event that took place in 1939–1940 in Japanese-occupied Shanghai, China, during World War II. Similar to Brokeback Mountain, Ang Lee adapted and expanded a short, simple story into a feature film in a way that allows individual figures to develop sophisticated layers of reserved emotions, without being sidetracked by complicated plots or overstuffed material. Lust, Caution was distributed by Focus Features and premiered at international film festivals in the summer and early fall of 2007. In the US, the movie received a NC-17 rating from the MPAA mainly due to several strongly explicit sex scenes. This was a challenge to the film's distribution because many theater chains in the United States refuse to show NC-17 films. The director and film studio have decided not to appeal the decision. Lee removed 9 minutes from the film to make the content suitable for minor audiences in order to be permitted to show Lust, Caution in mainland China. Lust, Caution captured the Golden Lion from the 2007 Biennale Venice Film Festival, making Lee the winner of the highest prize for the second time in 3 years. When Lust, Caution was played in Lee's native Taiwan in its original full-length edition, it was very well received. Staying in Taiwan to promote the film and to participate in a traditional Chinese holiday, Lee got emotional when he found that his work was widely applauded by fellow Taiwanese. Lee admitted that he had low expectations for this film from the US audience since its pace, its film language it's all very Chinese. Indeed, the film was ignored by the Oscars, receiving 0 nominations, despite the generally positive critical reception and the fact most of Ang Lee's past films had received multiple Academy Award nominations. It was snubbed even from consideration in the Best Foreign Language Film category. After being officially submitted by Taiwan, the Academy ruled that an insufficient number of Taiwanese nationals had participated in the production, thus disqualifying it from further consideration. Lee was chosen as president of the jury for the 2009 edition of the Venice Film Festival that took place from September 2 to 12, 2009. Life of Pi. Lee's next film after 2009's Taking Woodstock was Life of Pi, which was adapted from the novel of the same name written by Jan Martel. The story was a retrospective first-person narrative from Pi, a then 16-year-old boy from India, who is the only human to survive the sinking of a freighter on the way from India to Canada. He finds himself on a lifeboat with an orangutan, a hyena, a wounded zebra and a Bengal tiger. During this unlikely journey, young Pi questions and reassures his belief in God and the meaning of life. The novel was once considered impossible to make into a movie, but Lee persuaded 20th Century Fox to invest $120 million and heavily relied on 3D special effects in post-production. Unlike most other sci-fi precedents, Lee explores the artistic horizon of applying 3D effects and pushes the boundary of how this technology can serve the movie's artistic vision. The movie made its commercial premiere during the Thanksgiving weekend of 2012 in the US and worldwide and became a highly critical and box office success. In January 2013, Life of Pi earned 11 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Visual Effects. Only one fewer than Steven Spielberg's Lincoln. He went on to win the Academy Award for Best Director. In 2013 he was selected as a member of the main competition jury at the 2013 Cannes Film Festival. Directing for television, in March 2013, it was announced that Lee will direct a television pilot for the drama series Tyrant, created by Gideon Raff and developed by Howard Gordon and Craig Wright. Production was scheduled for the summer of 2013 for the FX series. However, Lee decided to quit the project to take a break from his hectic schedule. Recurring collaborators, Ang Lee has had a career-long collaboration with producer and screenwriter James Sharmas and editor Tim Scarese. He has also worked several times with music composer Mikkel Danner and a few times with Danny Elfman. Personal life: Lee lives in Larchmont, in Westchester County, New York, with his wife Jane Lynn, a microbiologist, whom he married in 1983. They have two sons, Han and Mason. Lee is a naturalized U.S. citizen and a Buddhist. His younger son Mason Lee starred in the Hollywood blockbuster movie The Hangover Part 2 as Teddy. Filmography: Lee has been involved in the process of filmmaking in various capacities, though the highlight of his career and legacy is his directorial work. The following are Lee's various credits. Accolades: below are Ang Lee's films' major nominations and awards. Lee has won a myriad of major international awards, including 3 Academy Awards, 3 BAFTA Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, 3 Independent Spirit Awards, 2 Golden Lion Awards and 2 Golden Bear Awards. Awards and nominations received by Ang Lee. Notes: A. In the 2007 book The Cinema of Ang Lee, The Other Side of the Screen, Whitney Crothers Dilly has analyzed in detail the striking diversity of Lee's films, as well as Lee's recurring themes of alienation, marginalization, and repression. Many of Lee's films, particularly his early Chinese trilogy, have also focused on the interactions between modernity and tradition. Some of his films have also had a light-hearted comic tone which marks a break from the tragic historical realism which characterized Taiwanese filmmaking after the end of the martial law period in 1987. B. Mikkel Danner was originally hired to score Hulk, but he was removed from the project, apparently at the request of the studio, and another composer completed the final score. Ang Lee spoke publicly about this in 2012 at a directors' roundtable, calling it the moment he regretted most in his career. Danner subsequently received his first Oscar nomination and went on to win that award for scoring Life of Pi, his first reunion with Lee since that time. References. Further reading: Dilly, Whitney Crothers. The Cinema of Ang Lee, The Other Side of the Screen. London, Wallflower Press, 2007. Taking Stock of Taking Woodstock Rushpreneurs October 5, 2008. Ang Lee's movie has a backstory of pure serendipity by Dan Bloom, Taipei Times. October 11, 2008, Cheshire, Ellen. Ang Lee. London, Pocket Essentials, 2001. Senses of Cinema, Great Directors Critical Database, Ang Lee 64th Venice Film Festival Press Conference, DGA Quarterly Interview, Ang Lee, A Life in Pictures at BAFTA A Never-Ending Dream, a short essay by Ang Lee on his road to success, external links. Ang Lee at the Internet Movie Database, Ang Lee at the TCM Movie Database,